Mr. Gavaskar, good evening, sir. Good to have you back here on NDTv. Now, I don't think there's anyone out there who will be brave enough to bet against India completing a 3-0 series whitewash against this particular Sri Lankan team. But that is really the question that everyone is asking, because that is going to be a historic win. So, according to you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good are India's chances of completing that whitewash?
I think 25. 25.
25 on 10.
On the scale of 1 to 10, I'm saying 25.
All right, 25 on a scale of 1 to 10.
So that, I mean, this Sri Lanka team, 1 to 10. So this Sri Lanka team is easily beatable. They don't have an attack. Their batting, though it did well in Colombo in the second innings, is pretty vulnerable. So I feel it could well be, I don't know what the pitch will be in Pallekele, but it could well be another 4-day game in Pallekele as well.
Right, I'm glad, sir, that you stressed upon the fact that it's against a Sri Lankan team like the current one that perhaps India, of course, overwhelming favourites to complete a 3-0 whitewash. Now, Virat has in the past, of course, spoken about sticking to plans and executing them over and over again to the extent of even being boring if needed. Against an opposition like Sri Lanka, it's perhaps fine to go in with a couple of strategies. But would you say when you play teams like, say, South Africa or England, and that too overseas, that's one big change perhaps that the team will have to think of making, going in with not just a plan A and B, but also an A, B, C, D, E perhaps?
Absolutely. I think you've got to be a little more flexible. And there were times when that Mendes and Karunaratne partnership was going on, when India were doing the same things over and over again. And sometimes it actually works when you do the same things over and over again. But when it's not working for you, you need to try something different. And they took a little longer to get to plan B. And then got rid of Karunaratne. But yes, I think this Indian team's got the balance to do well in all kinds of conditions. And as far as the record is concerned, Sri Lanka is their next test series at home in November, December. So that should be another win, and which will mean that they will be joint record holders with the Australians. And the way South Africa is currently playing, when India goes to South Africa in Jan, Feb, I think that should also be, it won't be easy, because South Africa at home are dangerous opponents, but it won't be as tough as the previous tours to South Africa were.
Absolutely. That will be a huge achievement really if India does manage to go there and win the series against the Proteas in their own backyard. Also wanted to touch upon, sir, what Ravindra Jadeja did, and he's been suspended now for the third test. In that context, throwing the ball dangerously close to a player's face. Would you say that that was a little immature on the part of someone who's played so much cricket? After all, what has happened is that at the end of the day, India will be missing a key player in the third test.
Well, I think it was probably an overreaction of the umpires and the match referee, because he picked the ball up, sensing that maybe Pushpakumara was coming out of the crease, and he threw the ball back. Now, if it had been on the stumps or on top of the bails, nobody would have said a thing, because Pushpakumara was standing in the middle when it happens. In fact, if Pushpakumara had got in the way, he could have been given out for obstructing the field. So I think it cuts both ways. So I just think while I'm very happy that ICC is now tightening up on a lot of these issues about conduct, code of conduct, on the field. I thought this one was a bit of an overreaction.
Right, but when you talk about Ravindra Jadeja, and also you have to talk about Ravichandran Ashwin as the two all-rounders that India have right now, it's quite something to have two all-rounders of this potential in the team playing together, both capable of troubling the opposition, especially of course in the subcontinent with both bat and ball. Do you think that is something that sets India apart from the rest of the test playing countries?
Absolutely. Look at their contribution with both bat and ball. In just about every match, they're contributing, with the bat, maybe not getting 50s and 100s every time, but they're getting 30s and 40s. They're picking wickets. Jadeja is taking some incredible catches in the deep. So I think their contribution's been absolutely magnificent. After the initial breakthroughs that the new ball bowlers give you, and no praise can be too high for the efforts that Shami and Umesh Yadav have put in these two test matches. So it just makes it that much easier when Shami and Yadav pick some wickets. that Jadeja and Ashwin can run through the opposition. But their contribution has been enormous. And not to forget the wicket keeping of Riddhi Mansa. He is an absolute world-class wicket keeper.